Hey everybody, Heiden here, and I have a confession to make. I've been hiding something from you guys for the last, I don't know, months. Today, you will get to see the combat debut of all of the American big carriers. For the last 2 months, I've been planning this, I've been plotting this, I've been moving them around to get them in position for an attack. And today's the day that we unleash the hounds. I have no idea if this is going to be successful. I have no idea if we are even going to make contact with the enemy. But we're steering for them, and I think we've got him in a checkmate right now. And you'll see what I mean if this turn is successful. So without saying anything else, let's watch it for the first time together and see if all of my months of planning has paid off. Let's do this. Okay, guys, February 10th, 1942. This is our big day. This is the day that I decide or determine if all of my months of planning are going to work out. So let's go. So he captured 1,000 Ship Bay down there near Tulagi. That's probably by just being in, being close to it. Proximity. Okay, so we have a one of my escort. These are one of my corvettes off the coast of Colombo. We make contact with the I-158 but do nothing to it. Okay, doesn't appear to be any nighttime operation of aircraft, at least in a combat capacity. Look at that. He's back to Sabang again. And this time he brought the big boys. Hyuga. Yeah, so he's not messing around. So he's bringing his battleships, and these guys will do a lot of damage to the place. Okay, so he's got the Issei. Let's fast forward through this and see what all he brought. But at least 2 battleships here, and these guys are some of the bigger boys he's got. Yeah, he definitely... Look at this. Look what he brought to this. He brought 2 battleships, the Hyuga and Issei, which are sister ships, and the Kako Furitaka, the Mikuma. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 light cruisers. This is... Wow. This is a substantial fleet, okay? And he does some pretty decent damage to us, but this is what I think is actually kind of funny. He hurts us, but look what he did to the base. He just wrecked it. This base is going to be completely trashed when he takes us over, which is probably going to be this turn, for sure, no doubt. But, yeah, he wrecked this thing. So he'll have to patch up all this damage himself when it's all said and done. Interestingly enough, it doesn't look like he has any spotter planes working this time around. I don't know if that was an oversight or what, but I don't see any spotter planes spotting for the follow-up shot. But anyway, that's a big bombardment at Sabang. Oh, well, that's not good. The West Virginia is just about to pull in the port of San Francisco. I'm glad it at least waited till now to start flooding more. Okay, looks like we're in daytime here. Okay, so, oh. Okay, did you guys see that? Uh-oh. Guys, I think we got something here. Okay, got some ships. Spotting here. Oh, man, we lost another PBY to shot down this turn. Spotting a lot of Japanese ships right now. You guys saw what I saw in the Bay of Bengal, right? Okay, airstrikes. Well, that's not a good start to our operation. Okay, so we get some Bettys hitting us at Butuan as we're trying to get into Surigao. He bangs up a few squads, but none destroyed, and we're going to press on. And it looks like another piece of this strike is coming in uncoordinated. Okay. All right, guys. Check this out. This is big. Here it comes, guys. Here's our this is the Japanese strike. Here's our carriers, and it's up to our fighters to put up a fight here. Okay, I'm gonna let this go for a little while before I fast forward through it. We need to get more fighters up right now. Come on, guys. We have to be successful here. So it looks like the Japanese got the first strike off, okay? So their carriers are here and mine are here. We're about 4 to 5 hexes apart. He's got 27 zeros on escort with all of his strike, a lot of his strike aircraft, if not most of them. Okay, our issue is that we have these Wildcats are not present when he shows up, but finally we have a bit more on site. We're about even with him now. We really need to start getting some damage done to these guys, though. Finally, we start doing something to these guys. Oh, man. Not too impressed with our cap right now. We really need to get some more of them up here. Come on, Wildcats. We need to start doing something here. We outnumber him now in terms of fighters. Where's the rest of our cap at? We have 60-something aircraft on cap. Where are they at? Jeez. Come on, we gotta do something here. He's got a lot of torpedo planes coming in. These zeros are so impervious, man. I just don't get it. It's like they just don't get hurt. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this now, because I can't take the suspense. We gotta know what's gonna happen here, so. Alright, hit and escape. Watch the animations go, and we'll see what gets through. Wow, we did shoot down quite a bit, but we had to endure this now, okay? Oh my god, come on. Where's the flak at here? Come on, flak. Come on, flak. Jesus. This flak is pitiful. We're just not doing any damage to him. So far, it looks like at least 2 of our carriers are hit. Okay, that's good. We're dodging and weaving some torpedoes here. Okay, that every time you hear a splash, that means that his attack was not successful. Okay, it means that the torpedo dropped and did not hit the target. Okay, a splash is good. We want to hear splashes. Okay, another splash. That's good. Okay, we got to get through this now. All right, guys. I think we survived it. So at least we have at least 2 carriers hit by torpedoes right now. So that's not good. But I think other than that, we were able to withstand it. So let's see how this post-attack goes. Okay, I'm going to fast forward. Let's see what we can kill. All right. So we just endured the Japanese attack. He got to go first. This is what we're reporting is shot down. Now, remember what I told you in previous videos. You can take these numbers and multiply them almost by a factor of 3 to get the actual loss rate. So if you look at this, we're looking at major losses for the Japanese here, okay? Possibly 25 to 27 vowels. Kates, let's see, 10, 17, almost all the Kates. At maybe 9 zeros were shot down. And we lost about 9 Wildcats. Now here's the damage. The Yorktown and the Enterprise both took torpedoes. Now I don't think one 18-inch torpedo from a Kate is going to sink these ships, so I feel like we got off rather well here. It didn't look like it was going well from the animation at first, but looking at this, it looks good. So it should be our turn now. Or soon, it should be our turn. Alright, well, I guess we have to wait. So now he's attacking Henyang with bombers. He's just looking for soft spots in our lines here. Okay, he's going for Henyang again. Why he's going for Henyang, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he's just trying to spread the wealth a little bit. Finally, he attacks these guys to slow them down. Back to Henyang. Okay, now he's hitting... this is a little odd. He's hitting our troops in the Hex south of Sion, which won't hardly do anything in the terrain. Okay, now it's our turn, guys. So, we're coming in with a massive attack. So we're bringing in 60-something fighters and escort. And it looks like we got over 111 of our Dauntlesses are going to get in here. Almost 120 Dauntlesses. That's not all of them. We lost some on the way in. But this should be enough to deal a bit of a blow. I don't even know what kind of carriers he's got here. So now it's our turn to deal with his cap. So it looks like he's got the Zuiho there. I'm gonna watch this for a minute to see if we can determine what carriers he actually has. So I saw the Zuiho is definitely one of them. Okay, I can't take it. We got to get to the end. All right, I'm gonna fast forward through this part of it, and let's see what gets through. All right, we get a lot through. We get a lot through, guys. Okay, so we had the Zuiho. Here we go. Come on, Dauntlesses. This is your time to shine. Okay, Zuiho just took a 1,000-pound bomb. Oh yeah. Okay, 1,000-pound bombs into Japanese carriers are deadly, and he just took 2. Okay, the Kaga. Kaga's up now. Okay, 1,000-pound bomb into Zuiho. Okay, another bomb into the Kaga, 1,000-pounder. Another 1,000-pounder into the Zuiho. Can't believe it. That's gonna finish that thing. Oh yeah. He's finished. The Zuiho is the ship that that we shot up at the beginning of our campaign. You remember that when the Boise got into that battle? We sent that thing back for repairs, but apparently it's back. Kaga just takes another 1,000-pound bomb. keep pouring it on, pouring it on. Oh, come on, guys. Don't bother with those. Don't bother. Let's get the carriers. The carriers. Yes, another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Oh, I don't think the Kaga's gonna make it, guys. It's been about 4 or 5 bombs now. Another. Oh, yes. I don't think the Kaga can take many more of these. Oh, Atago. So now we're going. He's got a couple cruisers in his task force then, okay? Let's see what we can do to Zuiho. Suzuya gets a 1,000-pound bomb for its trouble. Come on, guys. We need more damage on those carriers. We need more damage. Okay, another one in the Ryujo. It cannot take these. Atago takes a 1,000-pound bomb. Another 1,000-pounder to the Ryujo. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Another 1,000-pound bomb into Atago. This is amazing. These aren't the 500-pounders, guys. These are the big boys. These ones hurt a lot more. It takes another one. Another one. Suzuya hit again. That's it, guys. That's our debut. That's the debut of our fleet. Let's see what our losses are. Okay, so amazingly, and again, multiply these by 3, but we're looking at maybe 3 Wildcats and 6 Dauntlesses shot down with maybe some more ops losses on the way back. And this is the damage. Ryujo took 5 bomb hits, heavy damage, probably going to sink. Zuiho seemed to have gotten off pretty easy. Okay, that may or may not survive. The Kaga took 6 1,000-pound bombs. If you recall from the Battle of Midway, it only took maybe what two 1,000-pound bombs to sink the Kaga, and this one took 6. So I'm hoping that we have a Midway type sinking of the Kaga here. The Atago and the Suzuya also took 1,000-pound bomb hits. So these 5 capital ships are heavily damaged. So we need to listen for sinking sounds, because I don't know. None of these are reported as sunk yet, but I can't imagine that any of these are going to make it back. Maybe the Zuiho, but not the rest. Maybe the Suzuya. So let's listen carefully for our favorite sound. And this is what we got. These were all of our aircraft bombing. It's weird, he's got the Hosho planes and the Kagi planes aboard. So he's got his fighters all intermixed and mixed and matched up here. I don't really know why. Unless this is Fog of War. Maybe that wasn't a Kaga. Maybe it was actually a Kagi. I don't really know what to make of this. But these are definitely not the indigenous aircraft from what I can see. So that's it. That was it. Can't believe it. We only took 2 torpedoes. I think we can survive that. I don't know if he can survive that. What he took. Ah, we're going in for more, guys. But unfortunately, this one is coming in unescorted. But it looks like some of them turn around. So we may lose these Dauntlesses here. Yeah, they all got shot down. But 17 went in unescorted, and this is part of the. We'll talk about it in the after. We'll talk about strike coordination later on. But these guys got separated from the main body because I had too many aircraft and too many carriers stacked together. So a lot of them turned around, but unfortunately about 5 or 6 did not, and we lost them. Okay, that's it. Oh, you hear something? Something just sank, guys. Something just sank. You know it had to be one of the carriers or one of the cruisers. Onyx damage by flak? By the sub? Okay, guys, that's the air phase. That's done. That was okay. Here we go with the Batavia attack. Wow, look what he brought. This is a lot of force here. Look at this attack. Let's see how it goes. All right, so 2100 AV versus 467. It knocks down to fort level. And we take a ton of casualties. It's terrible. Not a very disproportionate rate of loss here. Granted, he was attacking with 3 times, 4 times the amount of troops, but jeez, I thought we could have done a little better than that. That was not the kind of defense I was hoping for at Batavia. Okay, we got the daily bombardment at Changsha. Okay, we get off pretty easy on this one. Yeah, now Sabang again. I don't know if we're going to be able to hold after that bombardment we took. Nope, he got it. He finally got it, guys. It made sense with bringing in 2 battleships to bombard. It made sense that he could take it. And with that, there goes all of northern Sumatra. He owns all of it now. Man, look at these losses. This is going to hurt the points quite a bit. So that's it, guys. That's the combat replay. So we had our big carrier battle, and I feel like we came off well. I feel like it went the way that we wanted it to go. My cap did not do as well as I thought it would, but you know, we only took 2 torpedoes, 1 in each ship, and I believe that's survivable damage for both of those ships. With American damage control, I don't even know if we even had to head back to port yet. So we know for a fact that we heard something sink on his side. And with as damaged as he is, I don't think I'm going to allow him to go home. But we'll talk about that in the analysis of the turn. But there it is, guys. It's taking me till February 10th. We finally got them in action. I think we delivered a slam dunk today. Get some reinforcements in. All right. Wow, we got a lot to look at here. Let's take a look at it. Well, guys, we did it. Our carriers have arrived, and we came out swinging. I'm just so excited and relieved that we pulled this off. It's been a long time in the works. We finally got here. So let's take a look at the numbers first. Yeah, aircraft losses today, 31 to 121. So according to this, we're showing 68 B5N2 Kates shot down or destroyed, 21 B5N1 Kates, 14 Vowels, 36 Zeros, and for us we have 9 SPD3s, 7 F4F4s, another 6 of the 3As, 2 SPD2s. He's got a couple Sallys in there. We have 2 of our Buffaloes, which I'm really actually surprised that so many of them survived, given that they're inferior. A couple other aircraft he lost, and we lost 3 PBYs into Singapore. That pretty much rounds it out. So 31 to 121. I would call that a smashing victory today. Looking at the top pilots, we have a total of 12 pilots completely lost this turn, which, if you think about it, is extraordinary. Given that we had 30 some odd planes lost, we only have 12 pilot casualties and 4 wounded in action. I don't think we have any new aces today, but we definitely have a bunch of Navy pilots. If we take a look at this, looking at U.S. Navy Marines, we got quite a few that are on the board here. And not surprising, they're all Wildcats and not Buffaloes. The Buffaloes were just kind of there as a distraction. It was the Wildcats that were doing all the heavy lifting. We'll take a look at the wounded and action pilots now. So it looks like we got a Army pilot that we need to send to reserve. Another Army pilot. That's really it. And then going over to reserve, looks like we have Lieutenant Green needs to be retired, and a Chinese Ed Lai needs to be retired. The rest of these have return dates. Okay, so really our pilot casualties were remarkably low considering what we pulled off. And that's something to be proud of. Our Army loss points, however, took a big hit this turn because we basically lost the entire garrison at Sabang, which is right here on the tip of Sumatra. So that made them go up quite a bit. We also had a big loss at Batavia. Our guys were just completely overwhelmed by a massive amount of force there. So in hindsight, I don't even think it was worthwhile dealing with Batavia, because all we did was send troops out there to get killed. But, you know, I thought it was the right thing to do. Now I know better. So for ships sunk, we're showing again this turn no ships lost, but I don't believe that one bit, because as we will see here when we review the combat report, the Zuiho took a massive beating, and we even saw it have basically a magazine explosion. And after our battle there, we heard a ship sink, and that was by far the one that took the most hits. So I'm basically completely convinced that the Zuiho went down last turn. I don't think the rest of them did yet, but they are so hurt that we may be able to finish them for good. So let's briefly go around the map. I don't want to spend too much time because I want to focus on this battle more. I want to really dive into this a bit. So we'll start off in China and say that there's been no real activity here. Nothing worth mentioning. More or less status quo. Obviously, we need to talk about this in a minute, but we'll get back to that. He took Sabang with a bombardment task force from these guys, which I do need to be aware of at this. I need to be worried about these guys because they are out of ammo right now, but within a turn they'll be back in Singapore, and within 2 turns they could probably be back up here. So we don't really want to mess around too long with these guys. We're gonna do what we gotta do with this and get them back. And we'll talk about that some more. On Java, he had a big victory at Batavia. He didn't take it, but he knocked us down a peg with our infantry. He took our AV down about half, burned up all of our supplies in 1 turn. So I give Batavia a matter of a few turns at most before he takes it. I thought it could do better, but I didn't realize he'd be bringing this many troops to Java. So good on him for committing heavy here, because I feel like in the other places, Lodrik tends to go in too light, and then he gets stuck, right? He can't progress. In Java, he brought in the right amount of force for what he's got to do. So he got this one right, without question. We also see here that he is now in Untitled Chapter, so we're about a turn away from losing that. Maybe more, maybe a couple turns. Because we do have a little bit of fort here. Looking over here, the only thing that we can see of note is some sort of task force moving southeast here. Could be an issue for our subs as he gets closer. We also have this task force here that we saw in Rabal last turn. They're moving northeast, presumably towards Truck to pick up more troops, I'm assuming. So we know that'll be a few days before he's back with that. We have these guys moving southeast. Now this is a significant sized surface task force. My guess is that these things are coming in to do a bombardment at Luganville, so he can break the stalemate there. So I'm pretty sure that's where he's going with these. And quite honestly, other than a few subs that we have along the way, there's not much we have in place really to stop them. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll watch it come down the road, but for the time being, I don't think we're going to be able to slow this down much. In other places down here at Noumea, we've pushed the subs away, and just as I predicted, we were able to get this, actually 2 task forces in, some supplies here, and also the Bomber Command HQA, right? This air HQ. I've desperately been needing it on Noumea because our airfield is just overwhelmed with stacking level and administration. So once we land that air HQ here next turn, our stacking level will improve and our base administration will go up, because I'm going to assign this air HQ to the same HQ as this base or vice versa. And it's just going to help declutter this stuff. And he's also bringing a ton of additional aviation support, because that is something that we are a little bit light on here. See, we need 242. We have 130. So that means it takes us longer to get our correction. I'm sorry. We have 130. We need 209. Now, some of these are seaplanes, and our seaplane tanner's taking care of that. But we need some more aviation support for the fixed-wing aircraft that are operating from land. At Kumak, I actually was able to get the AV Curtis into Kumak, and while they can't support the fixed-wing aircraft like the fighters, I guess they're all fixed-wing technically, while they can't support the fighters that are land-based, this aviation support is for seaplanes. So basically that means that all of my PBYs that are running patrol can get repaired, and we're already seeing an improvement in these PBYs here. So let us now talk about the combat debut of my carriers. So I think I'm going to do a separate video on how I got them here and why I chose this place. It may be obvious to some of you, but for some others it may not if you don't understand the game as well. So I will do a separate video, which won't take long to do, basically detailing the journey that my carriers took to get here, because it was quite a long journey, and it was painful waiting for them, because I wanted to act sooner, but I had to be sure that my carriers were going to be able to get in position and not be seen, and that's not something easy to do. And I've been very secretive, and I have not been telling anybody anything, and I've been purposely hiding their position. You may notice, maybe example from the last turn. This is what you guys saw for as I was talking about the Bay and Bengal, right? I had the camera on kind of a weird angle. Well, there was a reason because my carriers were like right here, right? Or right over here. And I did not want anybody to see them or know that they were on the way. And I had to go wide around to make sure that nothing would see them coming in. But that's how we got them here. So let's talk about the actual combat report, right? We'll go ahead and take a look at the actual first attack that we suffered here. So he got the first strike here. We had a bunch of Wildcats on cap. We lost 3 Wildcats. Call it 9 because, multiply these losses by 3 to get the real number. And he lost quite a bit more, okay? During this attack, we took 1 torpedo to Yorktown and 1 to the Enterprise. So let's take a look at the actual damage that we received from that. So this is the damage that we took from the torpedoes. Now, mind you, the system damage on all these ships is high already to start because I've been pushing these things very, very hard to get them to where they are now. There were some full speed runs in there and other stuff. So some of the system damage was already accrued before we started this battle. But the Yorktown fared relatively well. It took a single torpedo, so that has contributed to the flood damage. 7 of which will require shipyard repairs. The rest can be done in port or at sea. So overall, I would consider the Yorktown damage to be more or less superficial, and this ship is still well within fighting capability. Okay. Now, on the other hand, the Enterprise, the torpedo damage to that was a bit more substantial. So the system damage is lower, but instead we took a big hit to our engines and also to the overall flooding. This will require a significant amount of time to repair in a shipyard. A couple months is my guess. So the Enterprise is going to be down for a while, whereas I think we can get the Yorktown back up and running in 2 to 3 weeks in a shipyard. So of course the closest shipyard to us is going to be Colombo. So we'll probably aim for that once we get the subs cleared out. But temporarily, that's what we're going to be doing. So yeah. So that's the damage that we took from 1 torpedo each. So this is the Enterprise, and this is the Yorktown. The Saratoga was already this damage was accrued just by running at full speed. It was not as a result of any battle damage. These are the only 2 aircraft carriers that took damage. It was really remarkable. Fantastic. And you can probably thank Raymond Spruance here for his absolutely fantastic leadership of this task force. And also, these carriers have some pretty decent captains with high naval skill too, and that's helping us. Expect to see these numbers actually come down next turn as the repair crews get to work and start patching these holes. Now, this is the Japanese task force that we hit. It's the one that initially struck Ceylon about, about a week ago. It had that, remember he had that fighter sweep where we shot down 25 Zeros or something like that? Well, he never brought it back, which was really, really startling to me. Or not startling, but surprising because he lost a huge amount of his fighters that he needs, right? So instead of bringing them back to port to put more fighters on, he stayed out. And I think that was his undoing because he did not have enough fighters to stop our attack. I don't know if he would have ever had enough fighters to stop our attack, but he could have maybe curtailed it a bit more if he had more aircraft at his disposal. But he didn't because he stuck around in the Bay of Bengal way too long. And if you look where he's at, he boxed himself in. Like, there's nowhere to go. I have aircraft from Calcutta that can strike, and I also have these guys that are now in between him and his escape path, which has to be Singapore. One thing I noticed looking at our recon is that Chiang Mai is now showing 22 fighters. And what I believe to be the case is that his Zeros, which were damaged or whatever, what have you, a lot of his aircraft retreated to Chiang Mai, the ones that could actually do it. So I believe the Zeros are the ones that have the legs to get there. The rest do not. So that's why the ops losses, if you look at this, are so high for the Kates, right? Because they have no carriers to return to because they were too damaged to accept them, which is a good sign for us. That means that he's got heavy system damage on all those carriers, and the rest had nowhere to, they couldn't make it to Chiang Mai. There's no other base for them to go, so they had to ditch. So those ops losses are ditchings. Now you do see that he has 11 bombers still in the task force. I believe that that is whatever is left of his strike force. They are probably on the Zuiho, because let's take a look at that. The Zuiho, based on this combat report, if I can find it, yep, is the least damaged of all of the aircraft carriers that he has. So I'm pretty sure that the Ryujo has gone down. The Kago is on the verge of sinking. If it hasn't, I think it's going to sink soon. The Zuiho, however, I think is probably the one that still has a fighting chance of surviving, assuming we don't intervene. And those bombers that we're showing are the ones that made it back, and they're probably on the Zuiho still. So during this attack, we took very, very few losses. Okay. One other thing that we did experience here, looking at the combat report, was a lack of or a loss of coordination of our strikes. Remember these dauntlesses, right? They took off, and we got a message early in the attack that they were going in uncoordinated. And that is because in the early part of the war, the Allied air carriers take a coordination potential penalty for operating more than one aircraft carrier in a task force. So I have 4 in a task force, so that means that the chance of an uncoordinated strike goes up for us because of that. Now, I knew that, and I said, to heck with it, I'm sending them anyway, because we have so many aircraft that we were able to throw into this that it was worth it for me to take the risk of losing some in an uncoordinated strike, as opposed to splitting these up into 4 different task forces. I didn't want to deal with that, so I just grouped them into one and sent them, knowing that I could take a penalty, and this is what happened. Now, you do recall a lot of the aircraft said they were turning around, okay? So some of them got there and realized, hey, you know what, we're unescorted, this isn't a good idea, we're bailing. But 5 or 6 of them decided to press on, and those are the ones that were actually shot down. And you know what? That's the price I paid to execute this attack today, and it was acceptable rates of loss without question. So let's take a look now at some of the pilots that did very well here. So if we click on carrier aircraft, we can just take a look at the fighter units first, right? So the Buffaloes got no kills. They didn't really do a whole lot here. They were just kind of there for the ride. These guys, again, they just went in as part of the escort package. These guys too. These guys were on cap, and look at this. VF-6, commanded by Commander McCluskey. McCluskey was actually at the Battle of Midway as well. He was one of the fighter unit commanders. So Commander McCluskey got lucky, and his unit did some serious harvesting. Check it out. We have one pilot that's now on the verge of being TRACOM eligible, because you need 81. But look at this. These guys were absolute murderers. 22 kills at least, probably even more than this, but that's what we have confirmed so far. So very effective. Okay, these guys, the VMF 121, awesome. These guys are actually Marine that I put on as extra firepower for this task force. Okay, they only suffered 1 loss this turn, and they have 16 kills amongst them. So during this attack, Captain Davis now became TRACOM eligible. He's now at level 82 experience, and he got that through getting kills. We have a couple other decent killers here. And overall, excellent performance by our Marine pilots. We also have VMF 211, which is split up into 3 pieces. Now, you may recall early in the campaign, I launched a secret mission to rescue the Wildcats from Wake. When Lodrik did not attack Wake, I sent a mission out there to grab those fighters and bring them back. And now VMF 211 gets its revenge. I split this unit up into 3 pieces and put one on each carrier. So that's an additional 18 fighters that I was able to bring to battle because he let us do that. Now, this fragment here got 5 kills. See? This one got 3. And this one got 7. Impressive. Well done, Marines. So our Marines, we left a lot of them back on cap, and they did not disappoint. So in our SPD units, we did take heavy losses because those are the ones that actually performed the attack. The torpedo bombers were not in play because I set them to only be at range 4 so that they would attack with torpedoes only. So they didn't get a chance to get involved. But we'll take a look at our dive bombers now and keep an eye on the losses of pilots and aircraft. Okay. So this unit took 1 KIA. This one, none. These guys took 2 aircraft losses. 1 air-to-air, 1 flak, so a total of 3 this turn. For 3 pilots, 2 dead, 1 wounded. These guys, no losses. Amazing. These guys suffered pretty heavily. I believe this to be the unit that went in uncoordinated, and basically the aircraft that did not turn around and return all got shot down. So out of that, of these 5 pilots that we sent out, all 5 were lost. Or I'm sorry, of the 17 pilots or 18 pilots that left for this thing, 5 that pressed on to the attack with no escort, all 5 were shot down, and all 5 of the pilots are lost. So KIA, we'll never see them again. MIA, more than likely we won't see them again, but it is possible to rescue MIA pilots later on. So you can see that in your ops report. So occasionally you'll see that a previously missing in action pilot was recovered, and you get him back and you can use him again. But I doubt we will see these guys again. So it was a great sacrifice, but they didn't make it. This unit here, no losses. These guys, 2 losses, 1 air-to-air, 1 flak, 2 pilots killed. These guys, they're pretty good. 1 write-off. And again, 1 loss here. No losses here. I think we've gone through the list. So still, considering what we did, our losses to pilots was very acceptable. And because I packed a lot of extra reserve aircraft in these units, we still have enough fighters or enough bombers to have full complements of aircraft. I put as many reserve aircraft as I possibly could into each squadron before we left. So this is actually, we're still fully capable of attacking again with full squadrons. And of course the torpedo bombers didn't get involved. Hopefully next time we can get them in on the fight. But for now, they didn't see any action, and you know what? It's probably for the best. I don't think TBDs were going to do very good anyway. They're not good aircraft. They would just be extra bulk to our attack. But as far as their capabilities, are minimal. So these guys got lucky that they were never within range to attack. But that may not be the case next turn. All right. So let's talk briefly about the next turn, because it's going to be very important. This task force is jacked up. The escorts are fine. All the heavy units are either destroyed or seriously damaged. So here's what I think is going to happen. Lodrik has no choice now but to try to retreat. But because of the way he positioned his task force, he has no good retreat path because we're blocking it, right? I think he's going to come down this way, move these subs in the position to block us. But he's going to come down this way and attempt to escape down in this direction to Singapore. He will attempt to use as many aircraft as possible on long-range cap to cover these guys, but there's not going to be that many that have the range to do it. And remember, with long-range cap, you only get 33% of your full squadron on site at any given time, and that's assuming you're using 100% long-range cap. It's very taxing on the pilots. It's very taxing on the aircraft. So long-range cap is a temporary stopgap solution, but it does not guarantee great coverage over your task force while they're retreating. And if these ships are as damaged as I think they are, he may not be able to move any faster than we can. So if you look at the Yorktown at cruise speed, we're only doing 2 hexes per pulse, so 4 per turn. At full speed, we could get 10 hexes, right? Now, 10 hexes would put him about here. So I seriously doubt that any of his ships are in better shape than ours. So my guess is that his maximum movement speed is going to be 8 or less. So that will put him somewhere in this range here. So what I intend to do is move my carriers just a couple of hexes down this way to block off the escape route. And hopefully we can launch another attack tomorrow and finish off what we didn't finish today. I'm going to leave the orders exactly the same on these guys. Nothing is going to change. And we are going to make him come back through us to get home. I don't see any other way for him to make it. So if we position ourselves somewhere in here, we can basically guarantee that we'll catch him again on the way back. And we will do what we have to do to finish off this task force. If the destroyers make it out, that's fine. I want the heavy cruisers. I want the carriers all gone. So that's what we're going to do next turn. I think that's good enough for tonight. I wanted to explain to you the details of the attack. I wanted you to see the numbers. And, you know, at the end of the day, I just can't be happier with how this turned out. This is exactly what I was hoping for. This was a crushing blow to the Japanese Navy. Now, by no means is this terminal for Lodrik. He could continue on. Okay. In the grand scheme of things, he lost 2 light cruisers. I'm sorry, 2 light carriers at worst. The Kaga, which is definitely a big blow. That's one of your fleet carriers and one of your bigger ones. But it's only one of them. The rest of them are down here. Okay. The rest of the Kido Battalion is operating down here. And that particular unit is not something that we can take head on. Not yet. So if this had been the Kido Butai that we were dealing with south, I would not have even attempted this attack because they're just better than we are right now. Their pilots are better. Their planes are, measurably better on certain things. So us going toe-to-toe with the Kido Butai that's down south is not going to work. But because I knew that's not what we had here, I went for this attack, and we pulled it off. So I want to finish this, and then we will see what happens after that. I think we can finish it, though. So I'm going to blow through this turn really quick tonight because there's not anything more important on the map right now than this. I want to get this turn back to Lodrik so he can run it tomorrow, and that'll be very telling as to the fate of our campaign and the fate of my carriers in the Bay of Bengal and his carriers, too. So thank you guys for your patience. Thank you for putting up with me blowing off your questions about my carriers and making excuses and lies and all kinds of disinformation that I've been doing the last 2 months. But it was super critical to me that I waited until now to unleash these hounds. And now you've seen them in action and you see what I can do. And I hope you're proud of what we did today. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the fact that I was able to get this done. So we have another battle to come tomorrow. I'm almost certain that we will be able to reconnect with these carriers, whatever's left of them, and sink the rest. So wish us luck. We're going to go for it. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Thank you for supporting me up to this point. This campaign has been a blast. There's definitely been some downsides for me, and I've been very vocal and I've complained a bit. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm just complaining and I'm venting. Overall, I've loved this campaign. It's been back and forth and it's been fun. So I'm going to keep this going as long as I can because I'm fully committed. But I can only speak for myself. Catch you guys in the next one.